Where are you going? Have you noticed that every time something always follows you? This is something which accompanies you without your permission. Turn back and see what is this? This is your shadow. In the morning or in the evening, in the park or the playground, एक चीज़ जो ऑलवेज आपका पीछा करती है, आपके साथ रहती है बिना आपकी परमिशन के, वो है आपकी परछाई, मीन्स आपकी शेडो. टुडे in our second part of chapter Light and Shadows, we are going to discuss about what is the reason behind of formation of shadows, what are the things required to form the shadows, and what are the characteristics of shadows. Good morning, dear students. How are you all? Ready to learn science with me? Let's go. Yesterday, I told you that light always travels in a straight path, in a rectilinear path, and it is not having an ability to bend itself if some obstacle comes in its path. And due to this very characteristic of light, we are able to see this interesting phenomenon of shadow formation. Now, the content given at page number 190 and 191 is all about the what is shadow, what are the things required to form the shadow, and what are the characteristics of shadows. In my first part of this chapter, I have also told you about opaque objects and transparent objects. As you know, opaque objects are those which do not allow light to pass through them. So you can connect yourself with today's topic that opaque objects do not allow light to pass through them, and light is not having the ability to bend itself. The combination of these two characteristics of light and opaque objects is responsible to form the shadow. How we are going to discuss now. And before going to the text given in the book, I'm just going to show you a video, a small video. Are you ready? What is this? This is a metal sheet, and actually rusted one. And what is that? That is the sun, source of light. Metal sheet is an opaque object. When this opaque object comes in the path of source of light, see what happened on the wall. A dark patch is formed of metal sheet, and that is actually the shadow of this metal sheet. So, if someone asks what is a shadow, we can say when an opaque object comes in the path of source of light, it casts a dark patch on the other side of the source of light, and that dark patch is known as the shadow. And dear student, now it is clear to you perhaps that how the shadows are formed. Now let's go through the text given in the book. We all have experienced that during early morning or evening when we are walking or jogging in the park, something always follows and accompanies. कोई चीज़ हमारा पीछा करती है और हमारे साथ रहती है. इट इज़ समटाइम्स लॉन्गर, कभी बड़ी तो समटाइम्स शॉर्टर, कभी छोटी होती है. Can we identify what is this thing? And that keeps on accompanying us, and that is shadow, dear students. Now, the next paragraph, what is given there? is all about what is the reason behind of formation of shadow. I have already explained you. Let's go through the text. Let us try to understand the formation of shadows. We know that light cannot pass through opaque objects. Hence, when such objects come in the path of beam of light, they make a dark region on a screen kept behind them. It is these dark regions or patches that we call as shadows. Now, if someone asks what are the things, essential things that are required to form a shadow, you can easily answer three things are required to form a shadow. One is the source of light. जो आपने वीडियो देखी उसमें source of light क्या था जानते हैं, that is sun. And one is opaque object, that was metal sheet in the video. And next one is the screen, दैट मे बी ग्राउंड और द वॉल. कभी कभी हमारी परछाई ग्राउंड में बनती है तो कभी वॉल पे बनती है. इन दिस वे थ्री थिंग्स आर रिक्वायर्ड टू फॉर्म द शेडो. The last paragraph given at page number 190 is all about the second factor which is behind the formation of shadow. I'm going to read. The phenomenon of formation of shadow tells us that light ordinarily propagates, means travel, in straight lines. Shadows are formed because light moves along a straight line path and is not able to bend its path around large obstacles, means badha. Activity 2 is given of this chapter at page number 191, and what you are asked to do here, you will take a comb and fix it vertically on the one side of the large wooden table. Now cover the table with a cloth and send a beam of light from a powerful torch through the comb. Do you know what do you observe there? You can observe the shadow of the comb having the tooth separated there. जो comb में टूथ होते हैं, यू कैन से उनके बीच में जो गैप है उसमें से तो लाइट चली जाती है, तो वहाँ पे आपको खाली जगह दिखाई देगी और जहाँ पे टूथ है उसकी शेडो बन जाती है. इन दिस वे यू कैन ईजीली अंडरस्टैंड दैट लाइट इज नॉट हैविंग द एबिलिटी टू बैंड इट्स path. And this is also verified again that opaque object, the tooth of comb are opaque one, they do not allow light to pass through them, and that's why shadow is formed there. So conclusion of activity is that light always travels in a straight path and opaque objects do not allow light to pass through them, and these two are the reason behind of shadow formation. Now I want to discuss with you the do you know given at page number 191. See how with the help of hand we can make the shadow of a dog or a flying bird. By this observation, we can conclude that shadows sometimes mislead us. Means हम हाथ से डॉग की शेडो दिखा रहे हैं, वो डॉग तो नहीं है ना, वो तो शेडो है, हमने हाथ से बनाई है, तो हमें वो मिसलीड कर जाती है कई बार. What is in the text? I'm going to read. Shadows can be misleading at times. They can mislead us about the shape of the object associated with them. The shadows that we can create with the fingers of our hands can make us think as if they are shadows of different animals and birds. And this activity is every time enjoyed by my students in the classroom, dear students. Unfortunately, this time we are not there, but you can see such type of videos on YouTube in which the good shadow formation are formed with the help of hands. Now we are going towards the last topic of ours today. What are the characteristics of shadows? There are two characteristics. One is the size of the shadow of an opaque object depend on what? On the relative size of the relative position of the opaque object and the source of light. यदि ओपेक ऑब्जेक्ट एंड सोर्स ऑफ लाइट के बीच दूरी कम है तो शेडो बड़ी बनेगी, दूरी ज़्यादा है तो शेडो छोटी बनेगी। एक छोटी सी एक्टिविटी करके देखना। अपनी बुक लोगे और उसे अपने रूम में जलते हुए बल्ब या ट्यूबलाइट के नज़दीक लेके जाओगे। यू कैन सी द शेडो ऑफ योर बुक बिकम्स too large. Even the whole room darkened because of the shadow of that book. But if you are taking away your book from the bulb, the shadow becomes shorter. It means if the distance between the opaque object and the source of light is more, the shadow is shorter. And if the distance is come between the two, the shadow grows larger. And the second characteristic is shadows are always black in color, irrespective of the color of the object. This is all about the characteristics. On other side, to show and explain you that what will happen if the opaque objects like moon and the earth comes in the way of the sun in the sky. Again, you will be surprised to know that this situation will take you to another interesting phenomenon. Have a good day, dear students.